there's no one to save me. This all or nothing really got a way of driving me crazy. I need somebody to heal, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain, and now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love. I met you in the dark, you lit me up. You made me feel as though I was enough. We danced the night away, we drank too much. I held your hair back when you were throwing up. So let me apologize. I'll make up for all those times. 'Cause your love, I don't wanna lose. I'm begging you. No, never mind, I'll find some.
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well, and I'm Dr.Ayesha Mughees on Galaxy Radio Namibia with our segment Galaxy Facts. Today the topic is for those who are interested in the field of mass communication. If you're students, you're doing journalism, media studies, you might want to tune in and listen to this, because the topic is how to do an online article for a news website. So for this we have a very passionate professor, a very passionate journalist all the way from Ghana, namely Wisdom Eli Kojo Hammond. So let's head over to him and see what he has to say on this. Yes, Wisdom.
I'm going under and I fear this time there's no one to save me. This all or nothing really got a way of driving me crazy. I need somebody to heal.
Hello, our listeners, and thanks for inviting me to your show, Dr.Ayesha Mughees. I'm so grateful. On this Galaxy Fact segment for the day, we will look closely at how to do an article or report for a news site. That is to say, how to come out with an article or a story or a report for an online news site. Now, it will interest our listeners who have the quest or the desire to go into online publications that as at 2019, there were over 500 million blogs or websites that publish news items. And out of these, WordPress alone has 60 million blogs. That is quite a huge number. Who would get noticed, and how would your readers find you among such a huge number of websites with tons of content to share? For you to be noticed, you need to make sure that your blog or news article or report is of great quality. If your content or news item lacks quality suffers from other negative tags, well, you will not be noticed. Nobody would visit your website to read. And so the World Wide Web is a big market, or a big, huge writing platform for all who want to share content online. And as a big market, there are people online who are hunting for the most relevant news that meets their needs. So if you write a content, or you own a website, or you intend to own a website, you should have in mind that getting all the needed attention with every content and making the best out of it demands that you become a reliable and trustworthy source of that particular news on the internet. And it will take time, learning, practicing, making mistakes to become the best. Now, if you intend to constantly feed your readers with information, then it should not only be an informative content that you publish. Some of your content should be educative, others should be reliable or credible, and each news or report matters just as every paragraph and word you put in there. But often, if you know how to come out with an article, or you have an idea and you want to turn it into information or into a good news item or article, you have to go through a series of steps or procedures and answer a few questions to be able to write and read into the minds of your would-be readers, so that your content that you put out would be compelling, would be interactive, would be thought-provoking. And so to answer this question and to acquire some additional information on how to do an article or report for a new website, I will share with you 8 guidelines or steps. These are not in a particular order, and so you could rearrange them, but at the end of every content, at least they must meet these 8 critical criteria. Now, the first one is you must write a compelling headline or a very good heading or title. Your story or news item you intend to publish may contain 400, 600, 800,000 words or more. But the single thing that grabs the attention of your reader is your title. If the title is good and solid, people would be interested in finding out what you have in there. And so the title must be great, and it must have what we call power words that reflect the content, but not all the information in there, to make the readers want to read and to find out more. You can ask yourself, what title would engage your attention and make you want to click a link or a URL to read the story that has been shared on a social media? Title is very important, and in coming out with the title, it is important that you don't trick your readers into believing what is not really the issue. So don't trick visitors to click your titles. This is unethical, and in blogging or in writing news items, It is called clickbait. You bait or you trick your people or readers in believing that you have an excellent content with a title, and they click and go and there's nothing there. Now, if I want to put out an excellent title for this discussion we are having without tricking my readers to want to find out what is in the content itself, I would convert my heading or the topic for discussion right now, which is how to do an article or report for a news site, into 8 ways to triple traffic to your online content without clickbaits. 8 ways to triple traffic to your online content without clickbaits. So what I'm telling my reader from this title is that if he or she visits the content with this heading, he or she is going to learn 8 ways or 8 things that he or she can do to increase his or her traffic he receives to the website. And so come out with an excellent title. You can go online, for instance, to find out or read more on how to create compelling titles that are not clickbaits. The second thing you have to do in preparing or writing is to know your audience. If you are going to give a speech to children, you must choose your words carefully. You must choose your topic carefully. You must choose very carefully what you intend to share with them. And so with online publication, you must know your audience. Now, research the topic or find out more about the topic you intend to write on and the audience. Then identify the main issues of interest to your audience. And so for those who are listening to this discussion on how to write a news item for an online website, if bloggers or online website owners are listening, some of them will be interested in things they have to do to increase their traffic. And I am saying one of them is understand your audience. So if you have a website or you intend to have a website, you must find out what your readers want to read. Write and edit with your online readers in mind. If you write in ways that they find, let's say, difficult to understand, it means you are not connecting with your audience, and so they would leave. If your website or news portal is into the publication of stories in various categories such as sports, education, and politics, find out from the data that you pick or receive from, let's say, your Google Analytics, the kind of content that most of your visitors read. If, for instance, out of sports, education, and politics, your visitors read sports very often, then it means that that is the kind of news your audience who visit your site prefer. And so you increase that content on your website so that, let's say, Google, for instance, would also understand your website to the extent that it believes that you share more sports stories, and so people are looking for certain sports stories with the right information put out there and the right things done, which I'll discuss later. Your readers would have the chance of visiting your site because Google would pull out your write-ups as search results, and they are likely to visit those contents the more. If your site has a global reach, that is, you you have people reading from across the world, or people visiting from across the world to read content, then when you are writing, consider the international readers as well and give them something to think about in your content. And this means that if you're writing on sports, you should be writing global sports and not just local sports, because international audience are visiting. The more international audience visit your website, the more credible your portal would become. Now, so know your audience. If you are into an education niche, know the things that your audience want. Do they want more stories on scholarships available, or they are interested in how to learn and pass their exams? So know what your audience want and then share with them through the content you develop. Now, if you know your audience and you know the kind of content they want, let's say they want education related stories and they read that more often on your website, and even with education related stories they are interested in scholarships, then write more scholarship related stories and move to step 3, which is develop a story plan or guide for each of the stories you write. So you have to collect data. For instance, if you're writing any content on education and for that matter scholarship, go to international scholarship websites or visit any of the universities in your country or in other countries and find out the scholarship opportunities they have created or are open. Read through, cipher or decipher the information, and jot down relevant points that you can put out for your audience to appreciate and gain something out of that. So collect the needed facts from that website. If you are making a story and you need to conduct an interview, you do so to collect the needed data. You should know the kind of story you want to write, and that should inform the interview you do, so that you don't come and play your audio to transcribe only to find out that you don't really have information from all the toil and effort you put into interviewing your interviewee. Now, when you gather information that you want to put out, cross-check the facts with individuals or the companies involved so that legal issues don't pop up. You don't get sued. You don't have to frequently be doing rejoinders and apologizing to people for passing or putting out wrong information that causes problems. And also, another way to gather or collect data is to visit top portals or news websites to find out what they are talking about, what is trending, and collect the relevant data on that topic for your next news content. Now, make sure that as you collect your data or your facts for the story you want to develop, you break them into segments or subheadings. So when you collect all the data, synthesize and break your information into subheadings. This helps you to know what you are going to write about for each of the subheadings. And with this, you can be able to tell the same story your own way. Now, when you collect the information, you should also be interested in your introduction or how you introduce your readers to the so much information you have gathered, which you have condensed into a write-up of, let's say, 800 words. So point 4 or step 4, we say Think fast, think different, and hook your readers. Think fast, think different, and hook your readers. Your readers are on a journey, and so from paragraph 1, they must feel like, yes, this is what they want to read. They must feel like, yes, this is the content I have been looking for. They must find some information relevant in your first paragraph. There are so many readers that visit sites and leave in a short while because the content put out there is not well arranged. Critical information is not given from the onset for the reader to get hooked on until they reach the middle. If you have an 800 word content and a visitor comes onto your website or portal, and after paragraph 1 he or she doesn't find any information, paragraph 2 he or she doesn't find information, they will leave before paragraph 3. And so the readers are on your site not for fun but for information and education. They are on the move, and so we must always, as writers, serve them with information they need quickly and in a piecemeal form. That is, in a piecemeal form. What I mean by this is that if you are creating a content and you have some amount of information, break the information up into pieces, and in each paragraph introduce a portion of it and expand or explain. This way you keep the reader in suspense as he or she wants to find out the additional information in the next paragraph, and every paragraph links into the other. One easy way to do this is also to use linking or conjunctions that connect various paragraphs into each other to let the reader know that he or she is moving into another frame of or into another set of additional information. And so in paragraph 1, quickly tell the reader what the story is about, and this will keep them up there to read the rest, or else they will exit and may never come back. Now, someone will ask, so if I'm writing my content for an online portal, how do I hook my reader? 1, provide relevant facts or provide the most important information in paragraph 1. Then carry them along and release the rest one paragraph at a time. If you can, create suspense. Another thing that makes you hook your readers is to introduce facts, figures, and statistical information into your write-up. This makes your content credible. To hook your readers, use quality images in between your posts where necessary. The wrong image with a very good title will lose credibility, or a good image with a poorly written headline will throw your story off gear. There are very interesting stories that popular writers put out there, but due to the poor heading, people feel reluctant to even want to read. Where there are videos or images as part of the content, let the reader find something related to these in the title. So, what we have been talking about so far, we have been talking about 8 ways to triple your traffic to your content without using clickbaits. If I have a video or if I have produced an audio that follows or takes my readers through the process, I could say or put in a bracket videos or video or audio. Then this is followed by the heading or the something like this. Now, the video which I've been put in the bracket just before the heading or the title tells the reader that apart from him or her going to read text, there is a video that explains what he or she is about to see. This increases the desire of readers to check your content out. However, if you don't have a video or series of images to further explain something in your content, don't introduce it into your title. Now, in step 5, we are supposed to write lively and tighter. Create lively paragraphs that are interesting to read, and write naturally. However, introduce punchlines and key facts in each paragraph, as I have explained earlier. Be a little bit detailed and use the story writing approach. As if you are narrating a story, you put the information across. Readers are interested in reading news content that are put out in story form. And also, as you write lively, use the active voice so that you continue to describe subjects that perform actions you have stated in the story. If you use the passive, it makes your writing look dull and uninteresting, and so people will visit your site and may not come again because they feel that your writing style is not an interesting one to read. And so if you are writing lively, be conversational, ask questions, answer them if you can. For your information, your online audience want to connect with the story, and so give out clear descriptions where necessary and put them out in simple language that everybody can read. This would even increase the chances that your reader will share your story, another reader will share, and they keep sharing on social media to drive in the needed traffic. Because for online news portals, the more traffic you generate onto your site, the more money you are likely to make, and the more adverts you may get in future, and it increases your credibility as well. So if you have been able to write lovely conversational sentences, it is important that we move to step 6, which I have termed break it up. Don't lump, in writing your content, don't lump all or several ideas into one sentence or paragraph. So we say one idea per sentence, and your paragraphs should be a blend of long and short ones. Mix them up. Write short paragraphs as often as possible, and it should be clear and precise. You can write paragraphs that are thought-provoking, then you write others that respond to that provocation to answer and indicate why you said what you wrote earlier on. Now, don't write very long paragraphs if you want to have people visit your site very often. The longer the paragraph, the lazier readers feel, and the earlier they will exit. However, if the content is even a very long one, however the paragraphs are short, the spaces in between your short paragraphs make readers want to read. They feel that, okay, these paragraphs are short, and for that I might or I would finish reading soon. But if it is long, it makes people feel lazy. And so let's create short paragraphs throughout our write-up. Having created short paragraphs. Within the paragraphs, you can also attempt to introduce reported speech or statements that have been made by those you interviewed in their own words, verbatim, word for word. This also adds some level of credibility. So, for instance, if you are writing a paragraph and you want to introduce information that has been provided by the interviewee, you could introduce by saying, according to XYZ or Mr. XYZ, so and so happened. You put it in inverted commas. It tells the reader that you actually went out there to fish or gather the information and that you interviewed the person. If you are writing on an event that has occurred or you interviewed someone, these are some of the things you could do. Now, the next thing you do in preparing or writing for an online publication is very key. It's very, very important that when you are writing for your online portal or news blog, you do what we call search engine optimization. Keep it in mind, because there are several tons of write-ups that look just like yours, and you are all competing for the eyes that go online. If you fail to do a good search engine optimization of your content will never be noticed online. You will be competing, and so do a good search engine optimization. To do a good search engine optimization with your content simply means that throughout the content, find out from yourself or ask yourself, if someone goes online, what is the person likely to type into, let's say, Google search engine about this topic I am writing on? This question, if you are able to answer it, would help you identify keywords or key phrases that people are likely to key in onto search engines.